Ryan found the voicemail on a Tuesday morning while sitting in his car in the office parking lot, killing a few minutes before his shift started. He was clearing out a backlog of spam notifications, swiping away old emails and calendar alerts, when his thumb paused over the phone app. There was a single saved voicemail notification. He tapped it open and frowned at the screen. The call had come from his own phone number, recorded at exactly 3:08 a.m. 4 nights prior, on Friday. Ryan stared at the digits, his mind working through the timeline. He had zero memory of being awake at 3 in the morning on Friday, let alone dialing his own number to leave a message. He figured it had to be some bizarre technical glitch, or a pocket dial while he was tossing and turning in bed. He almost swiped left to delete it without a second thought, his finger hovering over the trash icon. For some reason he could not explain, a sudden curiosity made him hesitate. He plugged in his headphones and hit play. The audio started with thick, heavy static, the kind that happens when a phone is rubbing against clothing. Then, a voice cut through the noise. Ryan's chest went instantly tight. The voice was his, without question. It had the same flat Midwestern accent, the same low, slightly nasal rhythm he hated hearing on his office work recordings. But the tone was completely wrong. It didn't sound like him at all. The voice was trembling, tight with a raw, suffocating fear that made Ryan's skin go cold. The message was exactly 47 seconds long. "If you're listening to this, just listen to me carefully," the voice on the recording whispered, the words rushed and frantic. "You're going to be on County Road 9, by the old mill turnoff. It's going to be pitch black. Ryan, listen to me. Something is standing in the middle of the road. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care what it does. Don't stop the car. Whatever you do, do not stop the car." The voice stopped abruptly. What followed was a long, agonizing stretch of empty audio, roughly 15 seconds of nothing but heavy, ragged breathing. Ryan held his breath in his car, listening to his own recorded lungs gasp for air in the dark. Then, the line clicked, and the message ended. Ryan sat perfectly still in the driver's seat, the parking lot outside his window suddenly feeling distant and unreal. His heart was hammering against his ribs. He immediately opened his phone's call history, his fingers shaking as he scrolled back to Friday night. There it was, stamped in plain blue text. An outgoing call to his own number at 3:08 a.m., lasting exactly 1 minute. It was confirmed by the network. He then opened his Google Maps timeline to check his location data from that night. The GPS tracker showed a solid, unmoving blue dot sitting directly over his house. According to the data, his phone had not left his bedroom all night, and he had been sound asleep. He played the message again, then a third time. On the fourth listen, Ryan cranked the volume up until the static hissed loudly in his earbuds. He focused entirely on the 15-second stretch of breathing at the end of the clip. This time, beneath the sound of his own ragged gasps, he caught something else. It was incredibly faint, buried deep under the white noise, but it was there. It was the distinct, rhythmic crunching sound of a second set of footsteps moving slowly over loose gravel. Ryan took his headphones out, his hands sweating. The whole thing made no sense. He didn't drive County Road 9. He had absolutely no reason to ever go out there. It was an old, poorly maintained 2-lane road that ran through the thick woods and marshland 10 miles east of the city, long abandoned by major traffic. Ryan took the interstate everywhere he went. He had always preferred the bright lights and predictable traffic of the highway. He told himself it was a sophisticated prank, a deep fake voice memo sent by a friend who knew how to spoof numbers. He forced himself to get out of the car, walk into his office, and spend the day trying to bury the memory of the tape. By Friday, The dread had finally started to fade into a dull, uneasy skepticism. Then, his phone rang. It was his cousin, Marcus. "Hey, man," Marcus said, his voice buzzing with excitement. "A bunch of the guys are doing a late-night fishing run out to the reservoir tonight. The crappie are supposed to be biting like crazy out past the old mill. You want in?" Ryan's throat went instantly dry. The words hung in the air like a physical weight. The access road to the reservoir went directly through County Road 9, right past the abandoned mill turnoff. "Ryan? You there?" Marcus asked. Ryan opened his mouth, fully intending to say no, to make up an excuse about being tired or having weekend plans. But before his brain could catch up with his mouth, a strange automated impulse took over. "Yeah," Ryan said flatly. "Yeah, I'm down." The moment he hung up, a wave of intense regret washed over him. He almost called Marcus back 4 separate times during the drive home from work to cancel. He told himself he was being a coward, letting a creepy audio file dictate his life. Besides, they were going at night because that was when the fish bit, and Marcus had explicitly asked to take Ryan's sedan because his own truck was making a violent rattling noise in the transmission. Every single piece of the puzzle was falling into place, exactly as if it had been pre-written. By 11 o'clock that night, Ryan was behind the wheel of his car, driving down the dark highway with Marcus in the passenger seat. Marcus was chatting happily, adjusting the radio and checking his fishing lures in the dim dashboard light. Ryan barely heard a word. His eyes were locked on the road ahead, his knuckles white against the steering wheel. They turned off the main highway at midnight, transitioning onto County Road 9. The smooth asphalt vanished, replaced by cracked, uneven pavement that vibrated through the frame of the car. The streetlights disappeared completely, leaving the vehicle entirely dependent on its own high beams. The thick pine trees grew tight against the shoulder of the road, their dark branches arching over the pavement like a tunnel. "Man, it is pitch black out here tonight," Marcus muttered, peering out the passenger window into the dense woods. Ryan didn't answer. He kept his foot steady on the gas pedal, keeping the car at a strict 45 miles per hour. The digital clock on the dashboard read 12:14 a.m. The old mill turnoff was less than 2 miles away. The car rounded a long, sweeping curve in the road, the headlights cutting through the darkness. Suddenly, the high beams caught a shape standing directly in the center of the lane, roughly 50 yards ahead. Marcus jumped in his seat, his hand flying up to grip the dashboard. "Whoa, look out! Stop the car! Stop the car!" Marcus shouted, his voice cracking with panic. Ryan's foot instinctively twitched toward the brake pedal, his muscles tensing to slam it down. But in that exact microsecond, something violent and primal screamed inside his head. It wasn't a thought. It was a memory. The terrified, ragged voice from the voicemail echoed through his mind with absolute clarity. "Don't stop the car. Whatever you do, do not stop the car." Ryan's hands locked like iron onto the steering wheel. Instead of hitting the brake, he slammed his foot down on the accelerator. The engine roared, the sedan surging forward with a violent burst of speed. The car shot toward the figure at 60 miles per hour. "What the hell are you doing?" Marcus screamed, ducking his head down toward his knees, shielding his face with his arms. "Brake! Brake!" In the final, terrifying split second before impact, the high beams illuminated the thing standing in the road. It wasn't a deer. It wasn't a stranded motorist. It was a human shape, but it was far too tall, its limbs unnaturally long and thin, draped in tattered gray clothing that didn't move with the wind. Its face was completely blank, a smooth, pale oval devoid of features, reflecting the stark white glare of the headlights. As the car drew within 10 feet of it, the thing didn't run. It didn't flinch. It simply tilted its upper body to the side, barely a fraction of an inch, its long, skeletal arms twitching outward toward the passing metal. The sedan flew past it with a deafening roar of the engine. A violent, ice-cold gust of wind rocked the car as they crossed the exact spot where the figure stood, the tires screeching slightly against the pavement. Ryan kept his foot planted on the floorboards, the car flying down County Road 9 at 80 miles per hour, leaving the old mill turnoff far behind in the dark. Marcus scrambled back up in his seat, his face completely pale, his chest heaving as he stared out the rear window. "What was that?" he yelled, turning to glare at Ryan with a mixture of fury and pure terror. "You almost killed us! You didn't even tap the brakes! What the hell is wrong with you?" Ryan didn't answer. He couldn't. His mouth was completely dry, his teeth chattering uncontrollably as he stared straight ahead, his eyes fixed on the empty road. They didn't go fishing that night. Ryan turned the car around at the next major intersection and drove straight back to the city in total, suffocating silence. Marcus never asked him to go out again, and the two of them never spoke about that night on County Road 9 ever again. 2 weeks later, the psychological weight of the event was still crushing Ryan's chest. He finally decided he couldn't keep it inside anymore. He met up with an old college friend at a local diner and told him the entire story, from the bizarre 3:08 a.m. voicemail to the terrifying encounter on the dark road. His friend listened in absolute silence, a skeptical but unsettled look on his face. "Look, man," his friend said, leaning across the table. "You've got to play that voicemail for me. Let me hear it. Maybe there's a clue in the audio or something." Ryan nodded, pulling his phone out of his pocket. He unlocked the screen, tapped open his voicemail app, and scrolled down to the saved messages section. He looked for the entry from his own number. It wasn't there. Ryan frowned, his thumb swiping through the list again. He checked the deleted folder. He checked the archive. The voicemail was completely gone. It hadn't just been deleted. It was as if it had vanished from the network entirely. He went into his phone's outgoing call history to prove to his friend that he wasn't crazy. The record of the call was still right there, Friday night, 3:08 a.m., a 1-minute call from his number to his number. But when he called the automated voicemail system to check the server logs, the operator voice informed him that no recording had ever been saved or generated for that date. Ryan sat at the diner table with the phone heavy in his hand, the ambient chatter of the restaurant fading into a dull hum around him. He stared at the blank screen, a slow, terrifying realization creeping into his mind, colder than the air on County Road 9. He looked at the outgoing call log again. He had always assumed the voicemail was a warning sent from the past, or a glitch in time. But as he stared at the stamp, he realized something he had overlooked. The call history didn't show an incoming voicemail. It showed an outgoing call. Ryan put the phone face down on the table. He sat there for a long time, trying to remember the actual sound of the tape, trying to remember if he had ever truly pressed play at all, or if, somehow, in a way that defied every law of reality, the call hadn't been made yet. He realized with a chilling certainty that the voicemail hadn't been a warning from his past self. It was a recording he was still destined to make, a message he would have to leave for himself on some future night when he finally stopped the car.